Hi, I'm Neil Hunt. I'm the digital content lead for TV Connect, and I'm here with Anette Schaefer, VP for television business of Deutsche Telekom. Everything outside Germany.
Yes.
That must be challenging. So, I mean, we talk about kind of IPTV and kind of delivery of content over IP in very broad brush ways. But what challenges do you have? I mean, obviously you look after markets across Europe with different languages and different people.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for having me. We are looking at, first of all, different markets and different infrastructures. So we are providing a service over satellite, over cable, over IPTV, over OTT. And so I think there's not one size fits all or one question or one answer to all of these markets. So you need really to look at market by market to find an answer in regards how IP is impacting our businesses. What I see is that in all markets the appetite for consumers to watch content over different devices, that's the availability is 24/7, anytime, that is increasing. But so far we haven't seen from an operational standpoint so much changes because of IP. But we're looking into that, we're moving into cloud businesses, we're being more agile. We need to speed up the go-to-market. We need to bring more products and services. So that is slowly moving into in our entire region as well.
So we've heard from a few people earlier about how the need for kind of broadcasters and operators to act more like tech companies to kind of counterbalance the Amazons and Netflix of the world. Is that something that you see as part of your?
Yeah, I think overall the broadcast industry was very late when it comes to digitization. I mean, we still thought about blades and bare metal. And I think what we see now in our part of the telco business that you need to shift from engineering approaches to IT approaches. So it's more about what can you program, what kind of code you can develop, how fast you can bring services to the market to compete with, for example, an Amazon or a Netflix. But saying that, in our markets they haven't made an impact, but I think overall in the industry they have made a major impact.
And is it a case of being there first, rather than, you say they have, the Netflix and Amazons haven't necessarily had an impact yet?
Yeah.
Is it a case of getting there first and delivering the kind of experience that people will expect from that, or is it a case of working with them to deliver Netflix in the same way that a lot of Virgin in this country, for example, are now delivering Netflix as part of the package?
I think it goes both ways. I think we are also aggregating those partners, and we have a stream-on proposition in mobile where customers can add various OTT services from Spotify, Netflix, and other Deezer to their data services. But I think going back to the CE region, I think that the amount of contents are not there that resonates with the audiences. The willingness to pay 10, 12 euros for a subscription where my ARPU is pretty much in the same bracket, the numbers are not making up yet. But I think now with especially Netflix focusing more on originals in Europe that we produce especially out of these markets, I think this year they will release 50 new series and movies that been produced in Spain, in the Nordics, in Poland. So they understood that you bring to the European audience, you need to bring some sort of European taste and flavor. I think we will also see more uptake of these OTT services in our core markets.
And so do you see that as kind of homegrown then, OTT, or is that?
I think it's sort of accommodating the different tastes and likes of the audiences in different markets in Europe, understanding that Europe is not one homogeneous market where you can bring one show and that resonates with all. It's more challenging, but I think that's also an advantage for us because we know our audiences quite well, and I see us more in a role in the transnational markets like in the Balkan regions or where we can create success for certain content that we bring to the market.
So then I guess, what are the kind of individual approaches? What do you look at first? Is it very much audience driven, or is it a case of looking at what the kind of infrastructure and existing market in a country is?
It's first of all, it's audience driven because we have in many countries we have exclusive sports but we know that that's something that's very been liked by the audiences. We carry all the major free-to-air. We have to because of the audience share that they carry in the markets, or they bring in the markets. But I think now we come to a next layer or level of the bundling, that we can also bring specific content that is for the region, or for at least a couple of the markets there.
And then with that, I guess it's the monetization question. Is it kind of big bundle or small package? You say kind of hitting that kind of €5.99 or kind of Netflix level that people don't necessarily want to pay for. Is it a case of finding the right content that they will pay for that, or is still advertising and knowing that market and segmentation the key to that monetization?
It's definitely also the flexibility around business models that we need to understand better. I think we need to understand. We had this discussion just on the panel. I was saying, is the future a la carte? Yes, if the content owner would allow us to do that, and the rights would be allowed to do that. But I think we need to understand that there is, as much as the content is fragmenting, also the audience is fragmented. Now with the millennials maybe only watching over mobile, they want to see certain content there. We need to be sure to accommodate that. I think so. The structure of bundling of content will change, and also the underlying business models. We need to be more flexible there. If we say we have younger audiences, they're willing to have an ad-funded service because their wallet spend is not so high as somebody who buys a linear sports subscription from us. So I think we need to become much more flexible in two ways. In a way of the kind of content that we are offering, how we bundle and structure in the underlying business models.
And then how do you do that without cannibalizing your existing pay TV business?
I think we are not cannibalizing our current services, because I think what we need to do is to increase the RGUs, revenue generating units per customer, but also be increasing our addressable market outside of our footprint, so that we can also give a mobile customer in a certain market who's not on our network. But I said I definitely would like to see that kind of video or service, or that sports package. I don't have maybe a TV set at home, but I would like to see the Champions League. I want to see this National League. I can buy that service from us.
And then I guess, where do you see it settling down? I mean, you mentioned there's no kind of one size fits all, but what's the kind of general direction? We talked, Alan McClellan kicked off the day by talking about TV in 3 or 5 years. How do you see that kind of shaping out?
I think it goes exactly in this time to market, more services, different business models, different delivery formats that we need to accommodate. But I don't think that we should have a discussion like linear will die and OTT will succeed. I think what we need to understand, we need to do more. Our challenge is to bring all of these different services to the customer, and we see a long way before DVB multicast will vanish. I think we will always have an underlying multicast deployment for live sports or live events or local free-to-air, while a lot of that, what we see today in the linear space, which is more special and theme channels, will move into an on-demand world. So I think that is exactly what we need to balance and find out what resonates best with the audience and how they want to get that delivered from us.
Brilliant. And then just finally, how are you enjoying TV Connect so far?
It's great. I mean, it's always good to have these discussions and see how other operators deal with the current challenges, and it's always good to be here for exchanging ideas, networking purposes, and it's good. Thank you very much.
Brilliant. Annette, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much for your time.